So again, welcome to DFRI stream. The website for DFRI stream is dfri.stream. Directly, once you enter it, you will see all our previous events and next ones, and recording of the previous events as well. DFRI stream aim to offer a high quality scientific and industrial seminars in several hot topics in DFRI and cybersecurity. Attendance is completely free, and the platform is supported by the Association of Cyber Forensics and Threat Investigator. And if you wanted to stay informed about any future seminar, lectures, opportunities, conferences, workshop, please join our Google group, ACFTI. If you just search it or go to our website, you will find, and usually all the advertisement in any events, it's a low traffic, and usually we focus in what we are publishing, and if there is different news, we try to combine them in one in one email. So this is the DFRI stream. Gabriella, Dr. Elisa, Stefan, Collins, and myself. Gabriella is an educator and a global advisor, more than 10 years experience in management and research and innovation, crisis management. Dr. Elisa is a security researcher at Amadeus with PhD from Sorbonne University, and she's doing research in network and application security. And she had a very interesting talks in different events for the association, from workshops and related to detection of bots and residential IP. And there is the talk is already recorded, and you can watch it. Stefan is the founder of the Cyber Metropolitan Society in London Met, and Collins is another student who's helping us in the back end. And myself, I had a PhD, and I lead cybersecurity researchers with 18 years of R&D in cybersecurity. So a little bit about the association. Association is a professional non-governmental public association. It founded in 2016 in Santiago, Chile, and become an official association in 2020 in UK. We aim to promote and support cybersecurity activities in compliance with laws and create a network for exchange of knowledge between specialists and academic. And we have been involved in different cost actions. And our aim is to inspire the next generation of underrepresented group by creating a learning community of student, professors, and industry professionals, and connect future cybersecurity practitioner in campus with a leading professional in the field. And this is the vision. If you want more, you can just search ACFTI in Google, and you'll find our website, and it gives more about the work that is myself and different colleagues are doing. We have a lot of collaboration opportunities that enable members to volunteer and give time to the community. Please reach out if you are interested. We have a reading group, we have conferences, we give some workshops, we give some free training in Chile, in Argentina, and in Peru. And anyone is interested, please reach out to us. We also have some development of open source DFRI tools. Please reach out, and we'll be happy to connect you with the similar-minded people. So DFRI stream have a dedicated website, if you can access it now online, which is actually dfri.stream. We have a recording in YouTube channel, and usually we give you any student who's participating, we give you a ECTS certificate that be counted toward your, if you are doing a master's or PhD, you get a certificate that counted as in your course. Our talkers today from DFRI stream E is identifying fraudulent CAPTCHA solvers using network propagation analysis. So our first speaker is Martynas Buožis. I hope I said it right. He is an information security architect in the global security operation of Amadeus data processing GmbH in Germany. He have a long-term experience in information technology, and is involved in the founding the first Lithuanian CERT in 1998. Since then, he has been rotated in different companies and projects, providing excellent knowledge about designing high-quality security solution. The second speaker with us today is Umberto Fontana. I hope I said it right. He held a master degree in data science and engineering from Politecnico di Torrento. He achieved a double degree program with Eurocom, and he is doing a PhD in Telecom SudParis and Amadeus IT group. He is focusing in detecting bots in web application using explainable AI, very hot topic now. And the presentation actually has a pleasure to have a very strong topic presented in DFI stream and shared with the society. He also completed an internship in fraud detection department at Amadeus IT Group, where he honed his skills in combating online fraud. So without spending or delaying time, please join me to welcome our speakers for today, and looking forward for good presentation.
Okay, thank you. So I think I'm taking over. So let me share my...
Yes, please share your screen.
Sorry, I got a message, can share your screen. Something went wrong. I'm trying again. Sorry for the delays.
No problem.
I hope you can see it now.
Yes.
Okay. So let me start. I want to say hello to everyone and welcome you all to discuss how to detect fraudulent CAPTCHA solvers with network propagation insights as the topic of our today's conversations. What we have to mention in today's digital landscape, attackers use advanced techniques to avoid detections, and we will walk you through the work-in-progress solutions we are developing to detect and mitigate these threats in real-world environments. We'll also discuss the challenges of applying these ideas in large-scale companies and invite for an open discussion on strengthening our defenses against increasingly invasive bots. Just to note, actually, this is part of the important projects of common European interest. This is an initiative supported by the European Commission and funds this rescue so-called project. The rescue project is for Amadeus in Germany, and this presentation is, just to mention, is a joint work also with Amadeus SAS in France and Telecom SudParis. So again, some few words about who we are. Amadeus is a leading technology company dedicated to improving the travel experience for everyone, everywhere. Our innovative solutions and partnerships are integral to the travel industry, helping business and travelers connect seamlessly. As a global company, Amadeus operates worldwide, bringing its expertise and technology to every corner of the globe. Today you will meet me, Martynas Buožis, that's what I already mentioned. I am information security architect, and Umberto Fontana, who is also PhD in bot detection and Telecom SudParis. And we both are presenting the global security operations team responsible for providing cybersecurity solutions. So let's get straight to the topic. I want just to note that if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask or to type in that. If you type in a chat, we might comment later. And here we can start with defining the actual problem. So as you see that today internet life is a common daily activity in everyone's life, and we're tagging a lot of web interfaces, so social networks, so shops or whatever resources that help us to live our daily lives. But however, while we browse, shop, chat online, a large part of the activity on the same targets is done also by bots, not only people. Some bots are helpful. For example, search engines like Google or Bing scan websites and help us find what we are looking for later when we search in their provided interfaces and services. These bots are essential for online businesses, making the sites easier to find and access. But in parallel, there are harmful bots everywhere. They challenge security. The challenge for the security is to stop the harmful ones quickly without blocking the helpful ones. It's all about finding the right balance to keep the internet safe and running smoothly. And we have to be aware that bots are everywhere on the internet and they are following all our activities by targeting the same sites that we are using daily. So when we are talking about bad bots, we want to talk first about the bad bot classification, and to mention that bad bots are programs that do harmful tasks automatically. They can steal data without permission, give someone an unfair advantage, and they can often be used for various patterns like scalping, buying limiting items and reselling them on higher prices, DDoS attacks, sending the high traffic amount to the websites to slow down there or crash at all, SMS pumping, sending many text messages to cause problems or make money from the messages fees. So we use reference also to the OWASP Automated Threat Handbook that lists 21 different types of bot attacks like these, but we just selected as an examples as the most common ones and affecting. We will also expand a bit later. Based on the Imperva, one of the leading anti-bot sector companies, in their Bad Bot Report 2024, they provide bot classification that is visualized here, and let me just comment on what you see here as a diagram. So classification is like follows. Simple bots are just basic bots that do same simple job over and over and over again, always, like liking posts, clicking on links. They are pretty easy to catch because they don't change their behavior and use just general purpose automated tools. They also don't self-report as a browser and do not execute scripts, so they are some sort of flat execution automation to pretend to be a kind of human in a low level. Moderate bots are more intelligent. They can do things that seem human-like, filling out forms or secretly copying lots of information from the website. They are harder to spot because they can change behavior to avoid getting caught, and they use JavaScripts and simulating the browser technology, so it's more hard to distinguish them from the activities that are done by the real person behind the screen. And advanced bots, they are most clever and difficult to deal with. They use many tricks to hide their tracks so they cannot be tracked. They can also mimic how real people browse a website by using browser automation software, or sometimes they also distribute as a malware installed within a real browsers. So that brings a higher risk for them to collect more data and to be not identified in the activities as a malicious ones. So moderate and advanced bots are considered evasive because they are very good at avoiding detection. They use tricks like rotating to random IP addresses, entering through proxies, changing their identity, mimicking human behavior, delaying requests, etc. Many ways are what techniques they use. In addition, they use also low and slow approach, sending only few requests to stay behind the radars, and that's why detecting them is so difficult. And that's why we need to innovate, adapt methods to mitigate them. And that's a major goal of this project. So what's the problem actually raising in the meantime is a high one. It's that thanks to artificial intelligence tools like Copilot or ChatGPT, creating bots is now easier than ever. You can request a bot script, like you see a request here, and from the Copilot, you receive working Python code in a second. Even someone with basic programming skills can build a bot. So, according to the Imperva Bad Bot Report 2024, bot traffic is rising for the 5th consecutive year. Artificial intelligence and large language models have made it easier for both skilled attackers and beginners, even so-called script kiddies, to create bots. This led to a significant increase in simple bots that are now a large part of the internet traffic. The Python code generated, as in the example you see on the screen, is an evasive bot created using Selenium package, and it can move a mouse, click a button, and interact with the website in a human-like way, avoiding detections even as a basic script. Let's talk also about sophisticated bot attacks, and let's look at two serious types of functional abuse. It's not limited, but we selected these as the most common and affecting companies, where bots just use regular system functions to harm business and to make money. So, an examples when you do what the website is expecting you to do, but you use this as an abusive approach. So, first is a denial of inventory for your sales. Bots can add products like concert tickets or flight seats to shopping carts of reservation systems without completing the purchase fully, which prevents real users that are interested in purchasing the similar assets from buying them. In airlines, and we are close collaborating with airlines, this is called seat spinning. It's used to manipulate airline booking systems. Bot plays airline ticket in cards without purchasing them, effectively holding the inventory of cheap flights. This prevents legitimate buyers from accessing available seats and can lead to financial losses for airlines because they do not get tickets at the price they expect them to be delivered. So such attack, just by using expected behavior, expected by the site behavior, can disrupt supply and demand, cause revenue loss, make services seem unavailable, hurt companies' reputation, defeat the competition, and has a huge impact. Another example for the similar behavior that's still using the expected behavior by the website is SMS pumping, where bots abuse features like one-time passwords or notifications by sending a large number of SMS messages as a response required by the website. These entered numbers for the feedback for the SMS might also go to the premium rate numbers, allowing attackers to profit from the traffic. Sometimes that's even more scary is that the attackers are even collaborating with mobile operators to split the profile. So this kind of attack has an impact to the costs business real money. They have impact to the revenue, they pay per SMS, and that's also increases the system load and is hard to detect because it uses normal features in abnormal ways. So, as these attacks use actual features in abnormal ways, they are harder to detect and stop in a general scope. That's why we need more intelligent methods that don't just look for the loosey code and watch for unusual behavior patterns, but instead of that, we have to specify the abilities to watch unusual behavior and timing patterns that could help to spot when something isn't right, even if it seems like a regular user. And this is a never-ending battle. The fight between bots and defenders never ends. Every time a new way we found and identify and implement to stop bots, intruders will find a new trick to get around this, and this is happening on daily-to-daily business. To protect services from the bots, that they will not abuse the services, web services, CAPTCHA tests were introduced and often used. That is a small test that asks you to click on things or type letters to identify if you are a real person. However, the CAPTCHA test is not a golden bullet in protection because bots are getting smarter. So they are using CAPTCHA solvers and they automate the ability to bypass CAPTCHA tests. In addition, there are also the human solvers, real people who are paid to solve CAPTCHAs and send the answers to the bots. Bots, that's what I mentioned, also use automated solvers to solve CAPTCHAs using artificial intelligence-based CAPTCHA farms. Because of this, CAPTCHAs are not enough anymore. That's why we now look at the other signs, like how users behave on the site and how fast they respond by measuring the timing of the flows and other information about the full flow behavior. Just to mention, timing can tell us a lot. Bots are often too fast or inconsistent compared to humans, or introduce delays in the communication flows. To stay ahead, we need more intelligent systems that don't look at the answers but at the entire picture. So that's what I mentioned: behavior, timing, and all other patterns to spot what's real and what's fake. So just some real examples about where's the problem. And you see here real examples confirming that automated tools can solve CAPTCHAs. These tools can now solve CAPTCHAs in just few seconds. Sorry about the noise. Without any help from humans. Bots used just like a real user. As you can see from the examples above, even advanced systems like Google's reCAPTCHA version 3 can be tricked by using different techniques. So to say, for several years, research was focusing on developing tools to solve CAPTCHAs automatically, allowing providers to identify weaknesses in their systems and improve the challenges. But this also turned to artificial intelligence advancement, significantly enhancing bots' ability to solve even complex CAPTCHAs. Not only to recognize images, read distorted text, and even click in the right places, but they invent more sophisticated methods and they empower artificial intelligence to support this. So that's why today's CAPTCHAs have become more complicated, and systems like Google reCAPTCHA version 3 now analyze user behavior. By the way, analyzing user behavior, just to mention, is raising concern about user privacy that is monitored, but these CAPTCHA solutions also try to fool with a good dose of fingerprint forging and reinforcement learning. So they are more successful, but still, as I mentioned in the previous slide, the fight is still the same. We invent new methods. Malicious activities invent also new methods on their side, and we have to keep a track on that. So to mention that another type of CAPTCHA solvers is human CAPTCHA solvers, which attackers also still use today. Instead of relying on bots or artificial intelligence, they just simply pay real people, often in low-income countries, to solve CAPTCHAs. These individuals typically work in click farms, solving puzzles all day under pure conditions for very low pay. The process is also quick. The bot sends the CAPTCHA to a human, the human solves it, and the bot uses the answer to proceed. This can happen in just a few seconds, and this makes detection harder because attackers often make the bot and the human appear identical, using the same IP address, browser setup, similar response times. So even if CAPTCHA is passed, it does not guarantee in this scenario that we are facing a real user behind the activity on the web, as JustBot is using the human power to get CAPTCHA resolved and then proceeds with its activities that might be unwanted. Difficulty is that these CAPTCHA services allow bots to share cookies, fingerprints with human solvers, making them blend more easily. While this method is cheap and effective against even challenging CAPTCHA systems, it raises serious ethical concerns due to the exploitations of cheap labor in harsh working conditions. Some countries have already started to ban or penalize these practices, so we expect to see improvements in this area as well, just by enforcement of the containment of such farms. Okay, I want to ask if there are any questions in the forum.
I think we usually keep the question till the end. Either through the question and answer or email or chat. So please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, good.
You have already some question, but probably I will read them in the end. Yes. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So as we now seen how bots can bypass even more the CAPTCHA systems and why current defenses often fall short, it's time to present how we are tackling this problem at Amadeus. So Umberto, who is leading the work on the solution, will now walk you through our approach, a more innovative and adaptive way to detect and stop bot attacks. Umberto, it's up to you now. Thank you.
Hello, thanks everybody. I will just share my screen so that sorry. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's delve into the more technical about. First, I will talk about how modern CAPTCHAs work, especially from a network perspective, and then I will delve into the how we propose a technique in order to detect these fraudulent CAPTCHA solvers that are affecting the industries nowadays and weakening the CAPTCHA power to detect automated traffic. So first, let's see how the CAPTCHA work from CAPTCHA Google CAPTCHA v2. We have that usually there is a communication between three parties. In this case, we have a user, a website, and finally a CAPTCHA provider server. This CAPTCHA provider server can be, for example, CAPTCHA, it can be Google CAPTCHA or whatever, a CAPTCHA provider. In this case, in the first step, the user will interact with the website. So I'm going to that website, and the website, when it was to serve a CAPTCHA, it will send back first, of course, a session cookies and also a site key. We see the site key purpose right away. In this case, the user doesn't receive immediately a CAPTCHA, but what it's doing is basically contacting the CAPTCHA provider server with the site key and the URL of the website that he contacted. In this case, we'll have that the site key, the purpose of the site key, is for the CAPTCHA provider to check the subscription of the website owner to their CAPTCHA service, since there are different type of package that one can use, and also to provide some KPIs about the functionalities of the website, the number of CAPTCHA solved. There is also different complexity in CAPTCHAs. So basically, all this type of offer is possible to purchase, and this depends also on the site key. So after that, the user contacted the CAPTCHA provider. In a third step, we will have that the CAPTCHA provider will serve to the user their puzzle. It can be whatever type of puzzle. It can be a simple text to to recognize. It can be an image. It can be the absence of a puzzle. It can be just a box to check. It depends also on this, on the subscription. The user in this case will solve the possible puzzle and will get back to the solution to the CAPTCHA provider. The CAPTCHA provider at this point will forward a token in the fifth step to the user. And the user will take this token and will get it back to the website. Subsequently, we'll have finally a communication between the website and the CAPTCHA provider server. In particular, it will follow one question. Is this a legitimate user? So basically, the website will use the private key that it has with the token. It will contact the CAPTCHA provider server and will ask to the CAPTCHA provider if the verification process carried on by the CAPTCHA was actually valid. So let's see. In this case, depending if the user is able to solve the CAPTCHA, so it's a human or a bot. This is kind of a simple version of the Turing test. Will answer positively or negatively. So in here we see that there is three-party communication, but how does it work when there is actually a CAPTCHA farm involved? So there are some services that, as Martynas explained, there are some services which basically allow you to solve the CAPTCHAs for you. So allow the automated traffic to bypass this kind of Turing tests. But how do they do that? In this case, the communication is not done between three parties, but there are more. We have a five-party communication with the addition of two actors involved. We're considering in here the case of human solver, but we're also taking into account the possibility of having some automated solver. In both cases, there is an additional actor involved in the communication, both for humans, which we're expecting two, and in automated solver that we are expecting at least one additional actor. So in this case, we will have the parties involved are again the user. In this case, it's a bot. We'll have a website, of course, as we said before, the CAPTCHA provider, and finally the two malicious actors. One is the CAPTCHA solver service server, and the other one are the CAPTCHA solvers. So we call them click farmer in this case. So the communication flow at the beginning is the same. We have that the bot will contact the website with the first interaction, and the website will give back the site key with a URL. But at this point, there won't be a direct communication between the bot and the CAPTCHA provider. In this case, we'll have that the bot will forward the site key to the CAPTCHA solver service. The CAPTCHA solver service server will have all the information to take this site key and URL and send it to an actual user, a click farmer. In this case, the click farmer will contact himself the CAPTCHA provider. The CAPTCHA provider doesn't have information about what the user did before, so it doesn't know if actually the user contacted the website before or not. It only cares about the URL and the CAPTCHA and the site key. So he sent a puzzle or whatever. The user solves this puzzle, this kind of puzzle, and the CAPTCHA provider, in the end, as before, it will send back the token. This token will be forwarded to the CAPTCHA service that knows where to forward it to, and so will send to the bot. The bot doesn't have anything else to do than send back the token to the website. And when the website is proceeding further with the verification process, so basically it's contacting the CAPTCHA provider with the private key and the token in the last step, well, the CAPTCHA provider checked if the user was human, what actually was, since it was solved by a human. And moreover, there have been no manipulation of the token during the backward flow, because in this case, they don't have to modify the token because it's a valid one. And so the verification process will actually assert that the user was an actual human in the last step. So in this case, let's first stop a little bit and let's discuss about some points. Some people may think that probably they're wondering why can't we use probably some other detection technique which are effective, are existing, like for example fingerprinting? So basically one person could say, if from the CAPTCHA provider side we register the fingerprinting of the person that contacted us, and on the website side we also register the fingerprint, and then we try to match them, we can understand. This is effective, of course, but the problem is that also the malicious actor thought about this. They're kind of they envision this kind of protection system. So they also have the possibility to have an add-on service which allow the bot to take the fingerprinting and share the IP and the session cookies with the person that is actually doing the solving. So these kind of techniques, these kind of detection techniques are effective until these services are not purchased by the malicious actor. Later on, some people, and also there is some research that focused on studying the solving time. For the solving time is not a very strong mitigation case because of two things. The first one is that it's true that we can think that a solver can be faster. If it's a bot, it's a machine learning model, it would solve faster the puzzle because it's a machine. And if it's a human, especially if it's a human which is used to solve CAPTCHA, so it's very fast, it's used to, it's a mechanical work that it's doing, probably it would be faster than a normal user. But in this case, we have the risk of creating more false positives, of course, and we're penalizing some people which are actually fast. Maybe they are incredibly clever, so they can understand all the instruction of the CAPTCHA right away. Or in any case, maybe it's just luck what they're doing. And so we cannot block a user or consider it as suspicious just because of the fact that he solved too quickly a CAPTCHA. So in this case, we have that these two methods are not very effective to detect these fraudulent activities. We thought about a way to mitigate these two problems. So let's take a look at it. As we can see here, we have that when looking at it, we have more parties involved in the communication when there is the fraudulent case. So just as a reminder, the solving time of the CAPTCHA is not taken into account at all because of the reason that I explained before. So the step 3 and 4 for the normal case and the step 5 and 6 are never taken into account. We don't want to look at the solving time because we don't want to penalize all the users which are actually fast on solving, and also because of the fact that maybe we're expecting that they will find in any case a method also to slow down a little bit the solving method. So let's see actually on what are the basis of our technique. So we have some information. Let's see the information that we have in the communication flow. We know when we send in the site key from the website perspective. We know also when the token will arrive. So when I'm a website owner, I know when I send the site key, and I know when a token will be getting back to me. From the CAPTCHA provider's perspective, the CAPTCHA provider knows when the site key arrives, and he knows when he send the token, the verification token. And another thing is that from the website perspective, they also have some knowledge about the position of the user because they will contact them with an IP. And it's possible also to know the position of the CAPTCHA provider server, because in the end, there will be a communication flow in order to complete the verification process. So we can leverage all these informations at our advantage to make a detection. So if we can create a database, so basically we will have a data-driven method for the detection, where we record the feasibility, how feasible is a communication flow by measuring the time of of propagation of a site key and the token by recording the timing information from the website perspective and the CAPTCHA provider perspective, and knowing the geolocation, by using some historical data, it will be possible to assess actually the feasibility, the credibility of the flow. So just to be a little bit more specific. So in this case, I highlighted the important stuff in this slide. We have that in step 1, the website, when sending the site key, it will start a timer. Basically, we'll record on a database when was the start timestamp. When the CAPTCHA provider in step 2 for the case of normal case and in step 4 for the abnormal case, we'll have that the CAPTCHA provider will record the arrival time. Okay, so basically there will be the possibility to have a delta time. When the CAPTCHA provider in step 5 on the normal case, in step 7 on the abnormal case, will send back the token, it will also start a timing. And when the token arrives in step 6 for the normal case and in step 10 for the abnormal case, the website owner will also there stop the timer to record. In the end, in the final part of the communication flow, we'll have that when the website is asking to the CAPTCHA provider how the verification process went through, there is the possibility to exchange this timing information and to make some computation. After this, there will be a confrontation, a comparison with the historical data that have been collected, and there will be the possibility of verifying if the communication was redirected, so there was basically a redirection of the 2 keys or not, based on the geolocation information and the time propagation data. So just now, let's stop a little bit and think about some other remarks on this. We have that the site key and the token propagation times can give an estimation of the distance among parties. So this is something that I said before. We are taking into account also the possibility of having some network congestion, which is basically a slowing down of the communication due to some different causes. I think that the principal cause, the main one, is the overload of a route that is intercurring between nodes in the network. In this case, we're trying to make the method robust by using 2 propagation time. One, as I said before, it was the one of the site key, and the second one is the one of the token. So basically, we have some information about the ongoing route in the flow and the backward route in the flow. So by doing this confrontation, we can take the minimum of these 2 times that we're making the assumption that was left affected by the network congestion. So in this case, if the time difference between the 2 routes is too large, in this case, we will make the assumption that there was a network congestion, but we will take only the minimum one of the 2. We also thought about the possibility of having some VPNs. Of course, this one will create some problem because it creates some false positives. The VPN is basically affecting the information that we have about the geolocation of the user. So this one will affect also our assumption on these methods. But in this case, also as many other websites do, we can use some VPN IP whitelist. So basically, when the VPN is on some addresses which are well known, it's possible to know if there is a VPN involved or not. And we had to do studies on this corner case. On the other one, we have that the database of the real user connection from around the world will be used as a baseline, which is volunteer based. What is the current stage of the things? We have that we are on the early stage of the testing. We are creating a platform to have a proof of concept of the methods, and we're trying to have a controlled environment. So what we're doing for now, it's creating the platform that will simulate the CAPTCHA provider. We are creating also a fake website that serves a CAPTCHAs, and also another machine that will work as a CAPTCHA farm. So in this case, we're creating a controlled environment to proceed further with the experiments to verify the effectiveness of the solution. We're in the definition of the statistics to determine the correct propagation time and some possible corner cases. Of course, the timing is the most important information, but since we are exchanging some information with the CAPTCHA farm, especially with the evolution that is not so the CAPTCHA provider, since the evolution that has been on the CAPTCHA side, maybe it's possible to obtain some other information to enhance the robustness of our method. So we're also in the process of defining some possible other statistics that we can use in order to address some corner cases. And the last 2 points, which actually is it's a very important part for this talk, which is the recruitment of volunteers and the feedback. We're seeking for feedback from the community. I will dive into the volunteer part in the following slide, but also for the seeking of the feedback, it's a very important thing since we're still on the early stage. So if any one of you has some comments about it, please we're very happy to start a debate. So for the volunteer part, actually, we're looking for a volunteer. As I said, actually, it would be a very simple job, the one that we're asking. If you follow the link provided also in the chat, or you want to scan the QR code, it's not malicious, so you can do it safely. You will have that. You will provide your name and surname and your email, and you're giving consent for us to contact you later for being part of the experiment, for collecting the data. You can also, you can register now and refuse later. Of course, we're not forcing anyone to participate to this collection of data, but it's a very important thing for our research. So, what will you do once that you agree to the experiments? We're asking you to log in on a dedicated online platform for some time every week, and solves a set of CAPTCHA challenges, which are very easy to solve. Usually, it's maybe it's 4 or 5 CAPTCHA challenges that will take 1 or 2 minutes. So you can do it during your coffee break, before going to sleep, after sleeping, even if you're a little bit asleep. Just as a side note, just because maybe the people that solve them in the morning, they can have some question or concern about their ability to solve CAPTCHA in early morning. In this case, we're saying we're not measuring your ability to solve CAPTCHAs. We just want to have some information about the geolocation and the propagation time on this. So, and this experiment will be repeated so many times, because more data we have and more we can have some precise information about the communication flow that will occur between the involved party in the flow. So if you're interested, please submit the request. I will also leave the QR code in this last slide, and if you have more questions, you can ask here in chat. I think we have still time, or you can write later. These are the contact points that you can follow to ask some information. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. I believe Abdallah Kamar raised his hand. Please, you can either write the question or you can speak in mic.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. First, my name is Abdullah. I am from Pakistan, and I work at Virtual University. I'm basically an academic person as well. So my not too fancy questions. Just a very basic question. Yeah, I can understand the volunteering opportunity, and this is a part of a research project. So is there any kind of future? I'm talking about a future perspective. is there any research contribution aggregation like available as a volunteer if we do solve the question and we spare some time, and if there is an other, you can say, task as well considering the same project? So is there any long-term collaboration academically in the research? Thanks.
It depends. In this case, for the contribution, we will not consider like a contributor in the case for the authorship. If that was the question. The contribution would be mainly on the data collection of this. So all the people that will be involved, there will be no reward involved on this case. It would be just unhelpful for the research.
I think maybe Abdullah, maybe there will be this data will be open.
Okay.
Yeah. As well.
Either you can share the if I the contributor for that, I spare my time and I spare this time, because when you are working in a job and you have other responsibility, and if you do some volunteering, it's most probably your personal time, your me time, or your family time. And if someone is sacrificing their time, so I can understand there is no monetary benefits, but there should be some thing that is a motivation for a person regarding the career point of view, regarding their profile building, or regarding the acknowledgement in the community building, some sort of that thing. So basically, my question is, what the acknowledgement perspective of being part of this volunteering work?
In this case, I would say that it's voluntary based. You will contribute to the developing on a system that can reduce the amount of malicious work on the internet, enhance some CAPTCHA's protection. In this case, unfortunately, also because of the fact that if there is a monetary reward or some other type of the reward, then in this case we will think about we're putting ourselves also in the perspective of real CAPTCHA solvers services, which is something that we don't want to be associated with. So it would be just a research for research purposes in this case, like many other.
The data will be open access, or it will be withhold to train the model?
In this case, I think I have some difficulties on answering this question because of the fact that since the data probably will belong also to an enterprise and they're protected, and the solution is protected by an IP, I cannot answer for certain that they will be public or not. It's something that probably we'll have to discuss with our team.
Thank you. I have some questions from, because you're probably aware that I have some of the participants of the association are in Twitch as well. So this is being also broadcasted in our private Twitch channel. So I have some questions that have submitted through the email and related to the first part with Martins and your second part. Probably I will try to filter some of the questions because I have a lot, but maybe I can send you later some of the questions that you can engage with the if you can share an email. I think the email is already in the screen. So whatever the question you are asking, please go. If I didn't mention your question, please go ahead and send our speakers. So as you probably aware, some of our audience are from a legal point of view or from law enforcement. So the question is related to the first part with Martynas. Are there any legal or regulatory framework that is related to CAPTCHA solving services and how efficient they are being enforced in EU as a case? Because this is a question from a law enforcement agent in an EU country. Is Martynas with us?
Yes, sorry, I probably did not get the question.
Yes, are there legal or regulatory framework that is that especially provisioned to address CAPTCHA solving services, and if so, how efficient they are being enforced?
Sorry, I did not look deep into that, so I have no comments for a moment. But if there will be a requirement, I can just try to find out something and give a feedback.
Yes. Another question related to in what ways? Yes, please.
Yeah, maybe I can answer to this question. Actually, yes, there are some frameworks that try to forbid this or putting some financial loss to this CAPTCHA service. In this case, for example, there is in Australia, it has been illegal, but Australia is not a framework where most of these click farm are coming from. Most of them are coming from, especially, for example, also China. In this case, for example, there is some regulatory rules that have been put in order to put them as illegal, but they didn't work in recent year much because they are very difficult also to find. There are some gray areas. For example, there is also Amazon, which is proposing a similar service, which is not comparable to a CAPTCHA solver because it's Amazon Mechanical Turk. But still, it's counted as a click farm. So basically, using some manual work in order to make some labeling of data, and so basically, it's still on the gray area. In order to reduce this, also India has some regulation about this, but they didn't stop much. If you're interested about this, also I would suggest maybe some works that has been done also on the ethical perspective, which is from a researcher in Telecom de Paris, which is Antonio Casilli. There is some books dedicated also to this. That can be interesting.
Thank you very much. Another question from a law enforcement context, and what drive malicious actor to invest in CAPTCHA farming capabilities, and what is a broader tie with the CAPTCHA in the cyber criminal ecosystem?
Sorry, can you repeat the question a little bit slower?
What does malicious actors, why malicious actors invest in CAPTCHA farming capabilities, and what does this tie into the broader cyber criminal ecosystem or a cyber criminal underground market? Why? What is the motivation behind the malicious actors in this regard?
It depends, because in this case you will have two actors involved. The first one is the bot, so you will have the one that is actually using the CAPTCHA farm, and the purpose for that, the malicious actor, it would depend on the fraud that you want to commit. As we said before, there is denial of inventories, SMS pumping, it can be scraping, all these kind of cases. From the perspective, instead, from a CAPTCHA farm, is of course the income. They make it pay for the amount of CAPTCHA that a user is asking to solve, and which is actually very low if considering the amount. For example, it can be like 5 cents for every 100 CAPTCHAs, let's say. And in this case, from the CAPTCHA solver perspective, there would be a monetary income for this. Then there is the perspective actually of the CAPTCHA workers. The CAPTCHA workers usually are not, sometimes are not even aware about the malicious thing that they're doing. Basically, they apply to this job, which is online. They can apply online, and in this case, they will pass all the time solving things, solving puzzles. But sometimes there is also some unawareness about the work that they're doing. But it's just to gain some money. Then there is actually the ethical gray zone about this, because it's kind of a very low income job that can have some impact on psychological or also on the mechanical, since it's a very mechanical work that people are doing for many hours. There is also these kind of problems. So there is three perspectives. The one for the workers, which sometimes they don't know what to do. They just looking at the salary that they're receiving. There is the perspective of the CAPTCHA solver, which is monetary income, is in this service. And finally, there's the prospective bot, which is commit some malicious actor that depends on the attack that they want to do.
Thank you. Probably I can just add or supplement the question. I believe. Thank you very much. This is actually very good answer related to the whole ecosystem, cyber criminal ecosystem from top to down. Probably I can talk about motivation, something like account takeover or fraud or credential sniffing or this kind of techniques. Usually they need CAPTCHA farmers to bypass certain security controls and go inside the system. So as Umberto mentioned, the ecosystem is actually it's unfair in certain levels, but usually it is, yes, it's a motivation, and it is actually a service in the underground cyber criminal forums, actually, based on my recent experience in this part. I have some question related to the second part of the presentation, and it's related to, it says that given the real world internet latency fluctuation, which represent a non-Gaussian distribution of the network delay, how can we establish a confidence interval for the proposed detection method?
Okay. In this case, it's still a work in progress. There are... Opa, sorry, I just
no problem.
Following in a trap. In any case, there are actually some methods that one can use. We can use some very empirical methods, which are based on the estimation of the quantile that we can have empirically. For example, there is the normal method, which is used programmatically by sorting a vector and take the two tails of it. Others, which are more based on a sort of based on what is called the extreme value theory, which is a mathematical framework that studies extreme events, which are basically all the ones that find themselves in the tails of a distribution. We're expecting, of course, a Gaussian also because of the statistical theorem of convergence to a Gaussian. But in any case, in this case, we can use, for example, the peak over the threshold method, which is a method that estimates the tail of the distribution as a Pareto distribution. And in this case, basically, we find the likelihood of a time delta to enter into this Pareto distribution, which is the tail of the Gaussian that we're analyzing. So there are different methods that we can consider. Other methods can be the usage of also this artificial intelligence, which are able to understand what is anomalous or not. So basically, now that pops into my mind, you can use an isolation forest for that also. So there are different kind of methods that one can use.
And another question, how accurate must be the IP-based geolocation for the statistical correlation of to be valid? And what happens if the IP location database provide misleading or outdated results?
Okay, for the updating part, actually, I mean, it changes maybe the IP, but not the geolocation. So you can just update the where the IP is situated, and in this case, you can just change that. Maybe you can change, of course, also the speed of the network. So in this case, yeah, there should be some update of the dataset. On the other case, you will have the precision. The precision, actually, it can be not, let's say, point-wise. So we're not asking actually your precision on centimeter by centimeter. But we can have just a very broad-wise indication about that, because we're expecting actually the geolocation. For example, we have that one server is in Italy, the other one is in US, and the third one will be in let's say Great Britain. In this case, a precision of, it can be kind of not that much precise. Let's say we just want an area to consider, because if we're too precise, then the latency would be too strong. Let's say all the latency informations.
And another question related to this part, and it's related to how does the network conjunction cross traffic between backbone router influence the round trip times, and is there a possibility that external factors can be distinguished from intentional malicious ways to obfuscate the times?
Well, in this case, it depends on which sense. I mean, there would be still something wrong. I mean, if you're manipulating the time, the only thing that it can pop up into my mind as a case is if you're holding. So basically, let's say that you have the four-party communication and it's in this schema. Okay, I will take the schema. Okay, so if you want to fake and you're a CAPTCHA farm, the thing that it pops into my mind is that you were thinking about holding the flag or the side key. But in this case, it would be not coherent with what you declared as a geolocation. So there would be some problems.
Last two questions. One, I will take it from Slack, and the last one for me, because I have one question I would like to ask. One question related to, does encryption, something like TLS or HTTPS, introduce complexities or factors in measuring and correlating handshake times and round-trip times, and how can this be accounted for?
I'm sorry for this. I don't have the answer, since I think it would be one of the cases that will start empirically. I don't know if, since there is also Elisa that work on round trip time. In this case, maybe she can have a more precise answer. But on my side, unfortunately, I wouldn't know.
Thank you. Last question from my side, please. Any other questions? You have the emails and the slides. Please, you can directly send your question to our speakers. So the last question is from my side. At least I need to have one question. So how different, it's related to actually presentations that have been presented by Elisa before. So how different types of proxies, if you talk about residential or data center proxies or VPN services, affect the accuracy and the reliability of this detection method?
You can use both. I mean, since also the method is based on network propagation issues, if you're using a proxies, of course, there would be also here a slowdown. So you declared actually yourself as faked, but this is incentrating on is more focused on the CAPTCHA. While for the round trip time is just a communication about going and forward. In this case, there would be also the CAPTCHA provider. So it's a very similar thing. But in this case, we need also a collaboration with for example, the CAPTCHA provider for that, because in the end, the measurement would be done with an exchange of information between the website and the CAPTCHA farm, the CAPTCHA provider. Sorry.
I personally believe there should be some collaborative kind of defense between probably service provider companies like Amadeus and the internet infrastructure companies to share intel about this. I think this is something we have in cybersecurity, and I think I personally believe CAPTCHA Farms are one of the operation, are one of the threats that we should have countermeasures against it.
Yeah, so I agree.
Thank you very much, Martinez, and thank you very much, Umberto, for the beautiful presentation. It was a pleasure to have you here. I will. There are emails already, as I mentioned, and if you are interested to have a broader community,